Have you ever wanted to build a bicycle wheel or a set of wheels for yourself from scratch? Just the rim, the spokes and the hub, put it together, make it nice and straight, put them on your bike and off you ride. And then you thought, I don't know how to build one, I don't know how to do it. And you looked at the wheel and you said, that looks too hard, I don't know how to do this. So what you do is you collapse in a heap and you go, I'm just going to pay someone to do it for me. Well, this video is for you, the absolute basic of basic, how anyone can build a wheel, no problem. What we're going to do in this video is lace the wheel, put all the spokes in, and then truing it up and tensioning it is another video. So just putting it together first. The first criteria, relax. Grab yourself a cup of tea and a couple of Beckies or 2 or 10 like I eat after a bike ride. Because you're going to be able to build a wheel when you finish watching this video. No problem. First, a couple of basics. Grab any old wheel, no fancy wheels in this video. Have a look at the spoke heads on the flange of the hub, the way they go in. The first one goes in, or the head's on the outside. The next spoke along, the head's on the inside of the hub flange. The next one along, outside again. Next one after that, inside. So they alternate. So that's the first thing. Every second spoke comes from a different side of the hub. The next thing to note is when you look at the rim, the spoke holes are not all drilled in a straight line. They slightly alternate again like this. So if you look at the ones that are on this side, every second spoke hole is slightly on the right hand side, or on my right hand side, and they go to the right side flange on the hub there. And of course the ones that are on this side of the rim are for the spokes on this left side of the hub. So that makes sense, doesn't it? The other thing to note is put the valve hole up the top. I'll just mark it for you. Here's the valve hole there. And you'll note there's a clear. See how the spokes are clear all the way along there? They keep away from each other. That leaves a big gap so you can get in to pump your tyre up with a little connection, an adapter or whatever. And if you look along the next one, either way, whichever way you go, this one's not so clear. That one's definitely not clear much. That one's about the same as the other one, the second one we had. And that one's clear again. And it happens every 4th time. So you go, here it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, clear again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. On wheels, everything happens by 4s. So remember the number 4 and we'll be right. Okay, let's get racing. So you'll need either a completely disassembled wheel with rim, spokes and their nipples, and of course the hub all matching. Or if you haven't got that ready to go, just grab any old wheel. This is an old mountain bike wheel. Doesn't really matter as long as the nipples aren't rusty and horrible. So grab yourself a spoke tool that matches the nipples. Normally they're 14 gauge. Note 14 is the most common number. So first thing you note is how many cross the wheel is. Usually they're 3 cross, which means one spoke crosses the spoke next to it 3 times. Once very close to the hub, next a bit further away, and third time a bit away like that, and forms a triangle there. So this one is 1, 2, 3. It's called a 3-cross spoking pattern. So all you do, find the valve hole, put this in your forks or anywhere where it can spin. If you can't, well, just put it on the bench. Start at the valve hole, do 1 turn with your spoke key on the nipple, undo, 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 all the way around, 1 turn each spoke, and get back to the valve again. You find it's a little bit loose, go around again, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Just keep going around until all the spokes come loose, and you just pull the nipples out and all the spokes just come out, thread them through the hub, and then you just end up with spokes, rim and the hub. Okay. Right, first things first, you might get grubby hands, so no more biscuits. I only ate 7. Right, so grab your hub, grab one of the spokes and your rim. Make sure the valve is up the top, valve hole. Boom, there's our valve hole. Keep that up on your knees. Now, pick any side of your hub and any hole you want to. Put a spoke in, usually from the outside in, drop it in and pull it up like that. look, you won 36th of the way. Now, your valve hole there. Now, with your flange on that side, your spoke hole needs to be on that side. So, with your valve hole, pick the one that's on that side nearest to the valve hole. In this case, it's back from the valve hole, the one behind. I don't know if you can see it, but it's the one behind. So here's my valve hole, and my spoke's going to go on this side because that's on that side. Right. Put a nipple on. 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, doesn't matter. Don't do it too tight. Don't do 10 turns. Just put it on there. As long as it holds it. So there you go. That's your first one. So your next spoke, you miss a hole and go to the third hole. Put it in, same direction from the outside in. And of course, it's going to go in front of this spoke because you've gone in front there. Now, remember the number 4? So count 1 spoke hole, 2, 3, 4, and go in the 4th hole. And that 4th hole should be on that side again. So the same. Put a nipple in that. Next, exactly the same. Miss a hole, go to the next one, put the spoke in the same direction. Count 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in the 4th hole and just keep going all the way around till you reach the valve hole again. Now your wheel should look like this. Spoke's going directly out and your hub's loose but it's still hanging in there. So you grab another spoke, and the previous spokes all went in from the outside in, so now this new spoke is going to go from the inside out. So pick any hole and drop the spoke in, and here's your new spoke there. Now you pull the spoke toward you and all the other spokes go on an angle to the hub like that. So now as you pull it toward you, you cross 2 other spokes and go under the 3rd one. So you go over 1 and it crosses it down the bottom here, over the 2nd one, crosses just there, and behind the 3rd one. So underneath, it's a bit like knitting. Alright, so it's called cross 3, so because it crosses once, twice, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And you go in a hole in between these 2, in the middle, because there's 3 holes there and you pick the middle one. And lo and behold, that hole just happens to be on that side as well, so that's good. Right, so you get your 2nd spoke and you put it in the next hole along from this hole you just put the previous spoke in. So drop that in, and I chose the one this direction, so it's going to be obviously in this direction, the next one along there. So it's going to go in there. Simple. Cool. Because that's the first one, and here's the 2nd one. Again, crossing 1, 2, 3 times. So put the nipple in and keep going all the way around. Do the same thing all the way back to the valve again, or wherever you started. And now your wheel should look like this. Yep, you're halfway. Still a bit loose, but not as loose as before. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you, if you didn't know, you're going to go, oh, I didn't know that. And you'll never forget. The holes on the flanges on the hubs are not exactly opposite. So they weren't drilled like straight through. So if you look at the holes dead straight, they're not lined up. This set of holes on this flange are slightly ahead or behind that set. There's a reason for that. So get your wheel, and there's the new side you haven't spoked yet, and turn the wheel so it's toward you, so the other spokes face on the outside. Now, the valve hole at the top again, so here it is there, that's our valve hole. Now, look at this spoke on the left side, or on my left, it's your right, just there, and between this spoke and the valve hole there's one more hole. See? There's one more hole. That's where your new spoke, your starting spoke, is going to go. Now this spoke is slightly closer to the valve hole than this one, isn't it? See? And it's going to come up in the same direction. That way it'll leave a big gap here that we were talking about before at the very beginning. So you need to find this spoke where it goes through the hub, and the hole directly opposite but slightly in front of is the hole for your new spoke, because this hole is in front of that one toward the valve hole. So follow it down, look at the hole directly opposite, and you'll see the hole there. Get the one that's just slightly in front and push your spoke through. So you've got the spoke in the right hole. Now it's got to go into this big gap right opposite. That way you can get it round to the spoke hole on the rim. So just push down with your two fingers, spread those spokes a bit, and then pull with your finger up if you need to. Just bend the spoke a fraction and it'll go through. Right, now put the spoke into the hole right next to the valve, and in front of that spoke, get a nipple and put it in. Right. So now you get your next spoke and you choose the next hole along, whichever, can be behind it or front of it. We're going to go toward myself, so back this way again, so it's behind it. So miss a hole and go in the second one, just the same as on the other side, every alternate hole on the hub. Push it through. Now with your fingers again, push the opposite spokes so that it goes through, nicely like that. And then of course, because it's behind, then it's going to go in that hole there. So count from the first spoke, how many? 4. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 in the fourth hole. So here we go. And do the same thing all the way around again. So your next one will be miss a hole, go in this next one of course, and this will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, nearly there. One complete side and a half. You're on the home straight now. Very easy. Okay, another spoke. Because you went in this way before, obviously the other way. Now you've got to go somewhere in between the spokes, in between the gap to get in. So just you'll find your way through. Drop the spoke in. Oh. Now it's going to be pretty obvious. They're not going to go that way because all these spokes are bent forward. This one's going to go backwards. So all these are going to go back. And how many do you cross? 3 cross. So cross 1, 2, and under the third one. And there's your hole, because it'll be the only hole left around that area. So that's it. Put the nipple in and do the same thing all the way around to the end. Well, now your wheel looks like this. You've completely laced a bicycle wheel. Congratulations. Go and have another cup of tea and another 10 biscuits. Well, all you need to do now is true the wheel and tension it, and you're done. But that'll be another video. And remember, your first wheel is always the hardest to build. After that, the second wheel will only be half as hard. And the third wheel will only be half as hard as the second wheel, or a quarter as hard as your first wheel. And your fourth wheel will only be half as hard as your third wheel, or a quarter of as hard as your second wheel, or an eighth as hard as your first wheel. And your fifth wheel will only be as hard as your fourth wheel and fifth. Oh, one is beyond.